This goalie might seem crazy the way he plays, but he's not what you think. Because for almost 5 straight years, Igor Shesterkin outsmarted the NHL's best players and turned unpredictability into his greatest strength.
Big save! Barzal made about 5 moves on Shesterkin.
Oh boy, what a save.
At first glance, he didn't look like the calm, technical goalies the league is used to. He moved differently, took chances. Sometimes he'd slide way out of position, and other times he'd stay frozen, letting the shooter panic. Some fans called him wild, some called him lucky, but slowly that wildness started making sense, because behind every strange move was a plan. Shesterkin wasn't reacting, he was predicting, reading minds. And while most goalies studied angles, Igor studied shooters, their habits, their fake-outs, the tiny signals in their hands or feet. That's why, even when he faced superstars, they couldn't figure him out. He had already figured them out. If this Russian goalie hadn't taken the biggest risk of his life, leaving home, changing his style, and stepping into a league that didn't believe in him, we never would have seen one of the smartest and most unpredictable goalies the NHL has ever faced. Igor Shesterkin had everything going for him in Russia. He was a star in the KHL, playing for one of the top teams, SKA St. Petersburg. He had fame, money, comfort, everything a young goalie could dream of. But deep down, he knew that staying there would mean limits. He didn't just want to be the best in Russia, he wanted to face the best in the world. That meant one thing, the NHL. But getting to the NHL wasn't just about hopping on a plane. It meant giving up everything safe and familiar. He had to learn a new language, adjust to a smaller rink, and play a completely different style of hockey. Over in North America, goalies were expected to be calm, robotic, and technical. Igor was the opposite. His game was built on instinct and speed, something that many coaches in the NHL system didn't trust. And even worse, he had to start in the AHL, the league below the NHL, despite already being a proven pro back home. Some people said he wouldn't make it, that he'd never be more than a flashy Russian experiment. But Igor didn't come all this way to sit quietly. He studied harder, worked longer, and began adapting piece by piece without ever losing his identity. He knew that if he failed, he wouldn't just be letting himself down. He'd be proving all the doubters right. But if he succeeded, he wouldn't just be another goalie. He'd be something the league had never seen before. Igor Shesterkin grew up in Moscow, where winters were long, ice was everywhere, and hockey wasn't just a sport, it was part of life. While most kids his age dreamed of scoring goals like Ovechkin, Igor wanted something different. He wanted to stop them. From the moment he put on his first pair of goalie pads, he was hooked. He didn't care about being the hero who scored the winning goal. He wanted to be the one who kept it out. But chasing that dream in Russia wasn't easy. The training was harsh. Coaches didn't smile. If you made a mistake, they let you know loud and clear. There was no room for creativity, especially for goalies. You were expected to be quiet, technical, and follow the rules. But Igor didn't fit in. He liked to move around. He trusted his instincts. Sometimes he'd make a save that made people's jaws drop, but instead of praise, he got scolded for not doing it the right way. Many coaches thought he was too wild, too flashy. Some even tried to bench him or change the way he played. But Igor didn't give up. He would train for hours after practice, studying video, watching the way shooters moved, figuring out little tricks he could use later. Even at a young age, he was obsessed with learning. Not just how to stop pucks, but how to get inside the mind of the guy trying to score. He wasn't the biggest goalie. He didn't have the calm, stiff style others were praised for. But what he had was something they didn't: heart! A deep fire that pushed him to outwork and outthink everyone around him. He didn't just play hockey, he lived it. Every save, every rebound, every goal against it all meant something. And slowly, that same wild style people criticized started becoming his biggest weapon. When Igor Shesterkin finally left Russia and came to North America, nothing felt familiar. The rink was smaller, the game was faster, and the players were more physical. Everything he was used to, his space, his timing, his rhythm, was gone. On top of that, he didn't speak much English. He couldn't fully understand what his coaches were saying, and sometimes even simple conversations with teammates became confusing. He was sent to the AHL, the league below the NHL, to play for the Hartford Wolfpack. For some players, it felt like a waiting room, but for Igor, it was a test. Some fans and analysts already wrote him off. They said he was just another flashy KHL goalie who would never last in North America. Too aggressive, they said. Too risky. The moment he gave up a goal, people didn't just blame the mistake, they blamed his whole style. But Igor didn't care about opinions. He had been doubted before. Instead of changing who he was, he sharpened his strengths. He began studying every shooter in the league, watching film late at night, figuring out where they liked to shoot, how they moved their stick, what they did when they were under pressure. Igor wasn't just learning how to stop shots, he was learning how to predict them. And then something started to shift. The saves got cleaner, The reads got faster, the goals stopped coming. In his first 25 games in the AHL, Igor went 17-4-3 with a .934 save percentage, one of the best in the entire league. Players couldn't figure him out. Robotic like most goalies, they never knew what he was going to do next. But somehow, he was always in the right place. The Rangers couldn't ignore it anymore. Their top goalie, Henrik Lundqvist, was aging and Igor was more than ready. He got the NHL call-up midseason, and from the moment he stepped on the ice, it was clear. He wasn't just visiting, he belonged. In his NHL debut, he faced the Colorado Avalanche, then one of the highest scoring teams in the league. Igor stopped 29 of 32 shots and won the game. That night, the world finally saw what the AHL had already learned. Igor Shesterkin wasn't some overhyped import. He was the real deal. Igor Shesterkin didn't just show up in the NHL to survive, he showed up and took over. From the moment he stepped into the net, he wasn't playing like a rookie trying to stay safe. He was playing like a chess master, 2 moves ahead of everyone else. Most goalies react to shots. Igor predicts them. When a shooter came down the ice thinking they had an opening, Igor had already read their hands, their eyes, their stick, everything. He knew if they were going low blocker, trying a quick wrister, or looking for a fake, and just when they thought they had him beat, he would slide across the crease and snatch the puck like he knew it was coming the whole time. It wasn't luck, it was study, instinct, and a ridiculous hockey IQ. He made saves that looked impossible, but somehow made them seem easy. And the craziest part, he'd do it again the next night, and the next. Shooters couldn't figure him out. Coaches started calling him unpredictable. Opponents said he was weird or different, but the results? They spoke louder than any criticism. In his rookie season, he put up a .932 save percentage, one of the highest in the entire league. And this wasn't during easy games. He was facing some of the NHL's top scorers. Ovechkin, Crosby, McDavid, and he beat them. Not just once, multiple times. Game after game, highlight after highlight, Igor wasn't just a goalie anymore. He was the backbone of the Rangers. When the team needed a big stop, he gave them one. When they were getting outplayed, he kept them alive. He didn't just wear the jersey, he carried it. Fans started calling him the Wall. Teammates trusted him like a captain. And suddenly everyone who once doubted his wild style now saw it for what it really was. Genius. Igor wasn't just making saves, he was changing the way people saw goaltending. When Henrik Lundqvist, one of the greatest goalies in Rangers history, left the team, all eyes turned to Igor Shesterkin. People didn't just want a good goalie, they wanted the next king. Henrik. That kind of pressure can break players, but Igor didn't let it. He didn't try to become someone else. He stayed true to his own game. Quiet, focused, smart, but even legends in the making go through storms. Not long after taking over as the full-time starter, Igor hit a rough stretch. He wasn't playing badly, but not every game was perfect. A few unlucky bounces, some losses, and suddenly the media started talking. Was he really the guy to lead the Rangers? Could he handle the pressure? Some even said he was just a hot streak goalie. The same old doubts came back, but this time the spotlight was even brighter. Then came the injuries. A groin issue here, a small tweak there. Every time Igor had to sit out, fans held their breath. And each time he returned, he had to fight not just the opponent, but his own body, his rhythm, and the critics who were now louder than ever. On top of all that, Igor was dealing with heartbreak off the ice. He had grown close to other Russian players, some of whom left the league or faced struggles. Behind that calm mask and glove, Igor was carrying a lot, but you'd never see it in his posture. You'd only see it in how hard he kept working. He showed up early, stayed late, mentored young players. If a rookie was nervous before a game, Igor would pull him aside, crack a quiet joke, and remind him to just play his game. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but he led with calm and care, and then he bounced back, hard. In the 2021-22 season, Igor didn't just prove he belonged. He put up one of the best seasons for a goalie in modern NHL history. He led the league in the save percentage and shutouts, giving the Rangers a real chance to win every night. He won the Vezina Trophy, the award given to the best goalie in the world. But even then, he didn't act like a superstar. No big speeches, no "I told you so," just a small smile, a thank you to the fans, and back to work. Because Igor wasn't in this for attention, he was in this to win, to protect his net, to be the wall that even the best shooters in the world couldn't break through. And through every injury, every loss, every dark moment, he proved one thing: you can't out-tough someone who's already been through everything. Igor Shesterkin didn't just become a great goalie, he became a different kind of great. His style wasn't clean-cut or robotic like some of the legends before him. He was smart, fast, a little risky, but always sharp. Every movement he made had a reason. Every save wasn't just about reacting, it was about knowing what was coming before it happened. He wasn't the biggest guy in net. He didn't rely on size to block shots. Instead, he used angles, timing, and sharp reads. Most goalies sit deep in their crease and wait. Igor, he'd slide out, challenge the shooter, make you second guess yourself. He'd bait you into making the shot he wanted, not the one you planned. That's what made him special. And he wasn't just smart, he was fun to watch. Fans never knew what was coming next. One moment, he'd be calmly catching a puck like it was nothing. The next, he'd be diving across the crease to take away a sure goal. He brought energy to the position. Goalies aren't usually the ones who get fans out of their seats, but Igor did. In the 2021-22 season, he didn't just lead the league, he dominated it. His save percentage was .935, one of the best of any goalie in the modern NHL. He helped carry the Rangers deep into the playoffs, making clutch save after clutch save, and proved he was one of the most valuable players in the entire league. Not just a good goalie, a game changer, but beyond the stats, he gave something else: hope. To smaller goalies, to kids who didn't fit the usual mold, to players who were told they were too aggressive, too different, or not built for the NHL. Shesterkin showed them that you didn't have to copy others to succeed. You could do it your way and still be the best. He made the All-Star team. He won the Vezina Trophy. And most importantly, he changed the way people think about goaltending. Even today, when young goalies talk about who they look up to, Igor's name comes up again and again. Not just because of what he did, but how he did it. With flair, with courage, and with a sharp hockey brain that gave him an edge over almost everyone. Shesterkin didn't just stop pucks. He changed minds, and even long after he hangs up his pads, the mark he left on the game will still be there for every young goalie who dares to play different. Igor didn't just survive the NHL, he bent it to his will. For nearly 5 years, the league's smartest scorers, guys with million-dollar shots, playoff experience, and Hall of Fame dreams, got outsmarted by a goalie they once laughed at. They called him crazy, too wild, too unpredictable. But that unpredictable style made them hesitate. That half second of doubt, that was all Igor needed. While they were second-guessing their move, he was already sliding across the crease, glove ready, waiting for a shot he knew was coming. He didn't need to trash talk. He didn't need to act tough. His saves did the talking, silencing his sold-out arenas, breaking hearts in overtime, turning what should have been easy goals into highlight reel moments. And here's what made him different. Igor didn't just react to the game, he read it, like a book. Every pass, every play, every tiny move a player made, he watched, remembered, and adjusted. That's why he didn't just stop goals. He ruined strategies. Coaches had to plan around him. Star players had to change their go-to shots. Teams who thought they were facing a hot goalie quickly realized they were facing a cold-blooded thinker in goalie gear. And through all of it, Igor stayed the same. No big interviews, no attention-seeking, just calm eyes behind the mask, quiet confidence, and a love for the game that burned brighter than the lights of Madison Square Garden. What makes his story special isn't just the numbers. It's that he proved you don't have to fit the mold to succeed. You can play different, you can think different, you can be doubted, and still win. Igor Shesterkin didn't just change games, he changed minds. And for every young goalie who feels like they don't play the right way, Igor is living proof that sometimes being different is exactly what makes you dangerous.